Hi everyone, I'm still working on the same page from Enchanted Forest. This is a sort of tree page, and I'm doing this little mushroom toadstool here, and I thought it might be fun to just show you what I'm going to do with it. Now I've got quite a limited colour palette on this page. There's a sort of fixed amount of greens, fixed amount of browns. And this one, I've decided I am going to do it red, though. I do like a red mushroom. I don't know about your toadstool. Now it's going to really stand out because but it is right in the centre. You can see this is the fold of the page. So I'm happy with that standing out in the middle and being perhaps a focus. So that's fine. But you need to think about your page and how that the colour you choose is going to work with it. I do tend to do orangey colours for mushrooms, but because we've got this orange background, it's going to have to be a red. So I'm going to grab some of my reds to colour it with. I'm using my Polychromos. Now this is my pale Geranium Lake, it's my lightest red. I'm just grabbing my sharpener, which I'm going to start with now. I'm also going to think carefully about light and shade on this one. So I'm going to just colour a nice gentle light layer of this colour first of all, and then think about light and shade afterwards. It helps me to think if I do this, because I look at the structure of the piece that I'm colouring. I think about where the light would be coming from. We've got the trees, light, you can't see, the light of the trees coming down the middle, so then that would probably be the same for this. We wouldn't suddenly have the light coming from a different direction on the mushroom. Now I used to find that thinking about light just seemed overly complex, but it's actually quite simple. So if the light's coming from straight on, it's going to be here where it hits it, and this piece are going to be slightly darker. And if we want, because the mushroom isn't flat, it's rounded, so if we do it darker from each corner, it will give the impression that it's more rounded, and I will show you. So I'm going to build up the layers of colour from the corners towards the middle. Now we do have these 4 bits here. Yes, I'm aware. We'll talk about those as well. So slowly building up some colour, moving towards the centre. Now you can use, I'm just using one pencil at the moment. I am going to add in other shades. It's up to you. You can probably do this, get a nice effect. You can see now I've got a bit of a light area here, which is what I was trying to achieve. You can get quite a nice effect with just one pencil. Maybe I'll just demonstrate that. It makes it nice and straightforward. I find that using just a few shades also speeds you up. If you're having to keep choosing shades of colour all the time, and you've got, like me, a lot of sets of pencils and large sets of each, it can be pretty time consuming, and actually I find it quite tiring at times. It can be nice just to have a simple palette and stick to it. Okay, that's that. I don't like what happened here, it got too heavy, so I'm going to grab my Tombow mono eraser and just rub that bit out there. You can see I can just rub out that little layer that I did, and it looks a little bit better. I am going to grab a darker red. I'm just having a look at what I've got, trying to grab one without putting my hand in front of the camera. It's quite tricky. This is the middle Cadmium Red. It's quite a dark one actually. I'm going to sharpen that as well. We're going to add some of that and you'll see what difference it makes. So we want a lot down here. I'm going to put a few layers and then less as we come up here. We're not going to want any in the middle at all. We do the same on this side. And less, and not really any in the middle. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the pale Geranium Lake and go and blend that in with the colour we've had already. Now I know people say with Polychromos you don't really blend, you layer, but I just use the term anyway, so I hope I'm not confusing you. But they don't officially blend, because blending is when you actually move the colour around, but they layer. But it gives the impression that they're blended. And what I'm doing here is I'm just looking at the colour and where I think it needs a little more here and there, just to even it out. And there we are. And I'm still not convinced that this is a lot further away than this, that this is much closer to us than this. So I want to darken that up even more, and I'm going to move away from my reds. Excuse me. I'm going to grab this dark sepia colour. It's one of my favourites for doing shadows and shading, and I'm just going to add a touch in this corner and slowly spread it out. And same here, a bit less here because we can't see that darkest part. There we are. And then go back over it with the dark red to blend it sort of in, because I don't want it to look brown. I want it to look like dark red. So hopefully if I layer back over with some red, it will hopefully give that impression. Now we have these, I'm happy with that, but we have these 4 bits here. Now first of all, I've still got my dark red, my middle cadmium red in my hand, and I'm going to emphasize the base of these. I want them to look slightly 3-dimensional. I don't think that red is doing that good a job at that, but I'm going to grab the dark sepia and do that very carefully a little more. I want to give the impression that they're standing out, these little bits. Hopefully that's a bit better. Now you could do different things with these. You could do water drops. I haven't practiced water drops for ages, so I'm not going to do that. Or you could just make them look like little lumps and bumps on the mushroom, which is what I'm going to do. It's a much easier thing for me to try. Now on my page, as I said, I've got a colour palette that I'm sticking to, so I'm going to grab some browns for this, the same browns as I've been using in the trees, just so that it ties in. And this is the Bistre, and I'm going to use a bit of this. Now I don't want it to be really dark, so I'm really not going to use very much. I just don't want it to look like I forgot to colour it, which is always a risk. So I'm just going to do them like that. And I'm going to use this Bistre for the underside as well. Now I want it darker in this corner in the same way that we did with the top, and lighter towards the centre. So I'm going to start with a light layer and just gently build that up to see how it works. So darker here and lighter here. Now what I will probably do, we have these other mushrooms. This one will be identical, but I will probably do these in the same colours as well, so it's a nice little bunch of it adds consistency again. Now normally I do my stalks, as they, I guess you call them, stem stalks, in a grey. I'm going to use this dark sepia. I'm going to start off with putting a little bit here to just darken this corner, and use it here just gently, and a little in there. And what I want to do again with this is to give the illusion that it's rounded. It's not a flat thing, it's rounded. So I'm going to put a little light layer down here. I hope you can see it's quite small. And then along where the black edge is, I'm going to darken and then gently bring that in, just a little bit of extra colour towards the centre. Do the same on the other side. I find it's better to do each side at a time right away, so do one side then the other, and then you can work out where the centre is more easily, because you can gently bring in the colour from each side. Now this side is larger. There we go. There's our stalk. Hopefully you can see that, and that sort of makes sense. So what I will do with the others is a really similar thing, same colour scheme, and do those. And as I said in one of my earlier videos when I was working from this page, I will share this finished page on Instagram, so you'll be able to pop over there and see it. On Instagram I'm Rachel Henderson Colouring. And there is a link to my Instagram page from my YouTube homepage. So you can, on the very top, there's a banner picture, on the right hand side, there's a link. I don't think there's one here on the actual video, but there's one. I could pop one in, couldn't I? I'd make myself a note and I'll pop in a link in the description. So so there we go. So I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't think I've done a mushroom tutorial before, so it's something a little bit different, and I really enjoyed it. I love colouring mushrooms. So thank you very much for watching, and happy colouring.